Anime Coder the Vampire from Anime Coder 85, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what's been going on in the gaming industry. So, as you guys probably know, or maybe not, there's been a lot of stuff been going on around the whole gaming space with a whole bunch of layoffs from so many different companies. And I haven't really covered this because I've been too busy with Let's Plays and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I thought, okay, you know what, I'll talk about this. And this comes from VG247, and I know other websites have covered this, like IGN and others, but IGN and some of these other ones, even Kotaku, they're not doing so well too. And I'll just cover this a little bit. I'm not going to go in depth to it, but um, I'll leave the article. I don't have it on screen now, but I will just read from what I'm seeing on my other screen. So, uh, you guys can seriously, leave all your comment in the comment section down below about all the things that you have heard me saying and talking about. And if you do actually love this video, be sure you guys do hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon with all notifications enabled, so that way you can stay up to date with everything that goes on my channel. I am doing live streams more. Tonight I'm probably going to do some live streams, maybe for Perfect Dark or some other game. I haven't decided yet. I'm not going to do all the time with Mario Party 3, because I know that game gets a little bit boring at times. Plus, not to mention that some of you guys have already played Mario Party 3 or want to watch something else. So I'm gonna try to at least live stream a whole bunch of variety of games as well. So come on by. It's a great time to to watch some live stream, chit chat, comment on, leaving comments, and even chatting with me while I actually play through some games. All right, so now that that's out of the way, let's get started. So this comes from VG247, and this was posted 4 days ago, and it talks about Microsoft and Riot and the latest gaming tech companies lay off staff, including 343 and the Coalition, Bethesda. They're all affected. Now, Microsoft, they don't, the last game I remember hearing about was Halo Infinite, and obviously that game did not go out so well. Now, if you have actually played the Halo collection, like Halo 3 and the past ones, those are really good. Halo is mostly known for their online multiplayer aspect, but they also have a single player mode as well. I wasn't really too much big into Halo, mostly because I was more into, back in the olden days, I was more into Mario, Final Fantasy, those type of games, including even Sonic. I wasn't really much into Halo, and when it comes to first-person shooters, I'm not really really big into what's the word? I'm not really into the whole online multiplayer aspect of them, unfortunately. I try to be. I mean, I know some people that really love uh, online multiplayer games, and I understand. Online multiplayer games are not for everyone, but you get the idea. If you love online multiplayer first-person shooter games, that's all you, including GTA 5 or GTA Online. But that game is just, oh my god. Spending so much money on these skins and shard cards and all this stuff is just another way to cheat within the game. Gaming is all about having fun. It's all about taking on challenges. If you take on challenges and you complete them, you are rewarded. Whether that be money or a special skin or anything like that. You don't need to go out and spend loads of money just to get a skin. Take on the challenges. That's the whole part of the gaming immersive experience. You get what I'm saying? don't waste your money on freaking loot boxes, microtransactions, and other stuff. You want to spend money on DLC? Fine, but don't spend money on something that revolves around cheating within the video game. You're playing a video game for the fun aspect of it and to challenge yourself. Okay? Why do you think a lot of these single player games offer, different modes? It's to challenge you. Okay? For me, for example, I love playing on easy mode. Why? Because I love to just experience the story. I don't play easy mode for the challenge aspect. I played for the story. Now, there are some gamers out there who actually like playing on hard mode because it gives them a challenge. That's why. So don't bother wasting money on trying to be cheating in a video game. I know it sounds, I know I'm hurting everyone's feelings by saying that, but it's kind of true. And you are obviously a weak person if you think spending money on buying, shark cards and other stuff just so that way you can buy a whole bunch of properties and such within the game when you should be really taking on these whole different missions. In GTA Online, there are heists, there are survival missions, all sorts of stuff. And of course, if you want to go, with an online friend and go rob some convenience stores, you can do that too. All right, but other than that, that's the whole aspect. Anyways, moving on. All right, let's see here. Microsoft and Riot Games are facing substance layoffs, according to recent report studies from various sources. Now, the reason why gaming is really not good these days, well, I mean, there are loads of games now. There's like over 1 billion different games to play. Some on other websites that are not really on Steam or GOG or wherever, but they're fun to play. Okay, let's take, these non-gamers, the people who you see every day, who are always on the bus or on the train or at your place where you work or at the mall or whatever, and they mostly just have, games on their smartphones. They play Bejeweled or whatever, even though they're not necessarily really gamers. But you get the idea, all right? And with, a lot of these current modern games, it's just copy and paste, okay? The indie game scene is actually growing because, one, it caters with a lot of unique experiences. You get that, right? So instead of, indie games are basically independent developers. They make these small little niche games. It's more of like a budget friendly type. And they're not really big per se because they don't consist of a lot of developers. Okay? There's one game called Vampire Survivors. It was made, I think, like 1 or 2 people. And that game is really easy. There's no DLC, no microtransactions, no loot boxes. It's really just start the game, choose a character, and then you just basically, with the 3 keys, you just move your character around and just defeating an onslaught of enemies. And there you go. That is how fun a game can be. Look at Hades as well. That's a great game. No matter how many times you die, at least you can proceed onward, throughout the whole entire game. So, yeah. And a lot of these companies, whether that be Square Enix, who I like to say I want to get away from playing Square Enix games, but I kind of can't at the same time. Mostly because some of their games are kind of fun. But other than that, they are really. Some of them are kind of fun, I guess, but the Final Fantasy current scene, I'm not really much into. I mean, let's face it. The last really good Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy X. Okay, back when the early days of Final Fantasy were all turn-based. Okay, it was a turn-based mechanic. I mean, hell, even Persona 5. Persona 5 is also turn-based. And same thing with Legend of Heroes Trails Cold Steel. Those games are turn-based. And they don't require you to use, for you to buy DLC or microtransactions. Technically you could for games like Tales of Arise. But that's more for just costumes and such. It's fine for DLC to consist of costumes and such, but you really could just, work on taking on the challenge in-game. In-game challenges offer you special rewards. That's what you can do. I mean, even if you look at some gacha games, they even actually do provide you awards, even though technically, you're still wasting real world money on stuff that you really don't need to buy. And why do you think most parents, should not be giving their credit card information to their child? It's not something that a child should be spending money on. Okay? There are other things that you could be spending your money on rather than something like shark cards or other stuff. Anyways, I'm going off topic here. But yes, a lot of these companies are essentially suffering massive layoffs, and mostly because a lot of these so-called journals or journalists really just try to shove their whole political propaganda into video games. Video games are not a place where you should be shoving your political propaganda, okay? You want to talk about politics, talk about it in the actual political realm. Gaming is not an area where you should be talking about politics, okay? I've learned that lesson the hard way. Back when I had Core Science 23, I learned that the hard way of not trying to be political. Politicalness and gaming do not go well together. So, you want to talk about politics? Go into the political realm, okay? There's a whole bunch of great political podcasters that you could watch to share your political beliefs. But on this channel, or any other animated gaming channel, keep politics out, alright? There are certain times where it's okay to bring in your little bit of political views, but most of the time, it doesn't belong. And that's why these journalists and these companies are damaging themselves. And CEOs and companies are now learning the hard way what not to be doing. And not to be hiring people who just want to share their political views. Alright. Both companies appear to be following the recent trends in the tech industry, which found itself in turmoil over the recent months, with downsizing and mass layoffs occurring at various companies across the US. First reports by CNBC, Microsoft appears to be cutting 10,000 jobs in preparation for slow revenue growth. Jason Schreier at Bloomberg. Now, Jason Schreier, he's... What can I say about Jason Schreier? He used to work at Kotaku. He was pretty much the one last true great journalist at the time. And he's still good because he does honest reporting, and a lot of people can probably hate him for some of his takes on gaming, but I don't have any opinions of the guy, honestly. I don't really know much about the guy, but, take it what you will. If you find him as a really cool, awesome guy, and you've read a lot of his, journalistic views about things, hey, go ahead, support the guy. Anyways, but yes, he now works for Bloomberg, which are another company. I think they cover various topics, not just within gaming, but other stuff as well. Anyways, he able to secure additional information from sources at Microsoft, revealing in their own reports that these layoffs would be impacting Microsoft's game division, including Bethesda and 343 Industries. Now, Microsoft they aren't really doing very much in terms of creating good, valuable games. Like, I don't even know what they're doing. I know that there's supposed to be the next a remaster or a remake version of Perfect Dark, and well, unfortunately, Rareware is not actually making the remake for Perfect Dark. And I actually like Perfect Dark. That's probably one of those games that I really, really grew up playing. It was always fun playing with my brothers in a game of multiplayer for Perfect Dark. That was a fun thing about back in the olden days. In the olden days, what you really had was you didn't have to worry about this online multiplayer. You know, because back in my days, back during the N64 era, you know, we had my family. Let's see, the Dreamcast, the NES, Game Gear, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. I had the Nintendo DS Lite. We had the PlayStation 2, and and I think I rested the N64. And we would always end up playing, you know, a few rounds of Perfect Dark, even GoldenEye 007. Perfect Dark and GoldenEye 007 and Star Wars 64 were always the best games we played on N64. Even Super Smash. Remember Super Smash Bros? Yes. You can still play Super Smash Ultimate, but now you can really just go online and play with other people across the world in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Assuming you actually have a Nintendo Online account. But, yeah, right now, there isn't really much going on when it comes to Microsoft's gaming division. And Phil Spencer, I remember I was watching a YouTube creator called Griffin Gaming. He does a lot of live streams. He does other topics and such, but yeah, I remember he saying that how Phil Spencer doesn't really seem to be checking in on many of his quote unquote different studios with Microsoft, like Bethesda. And before that, you know, Bethesda was its own entity. But then of course Microsoft bought them, so now Bethesda works with Microsoft. And I don't even know where the next Elder Scrolls game is, because there hasn't been another Elder Scrolls game for a long ass time. Do you know that haven't been, you know, I remember Elder Scrolls 6. There was a teaser trailer that was shown at E3. I think it was like E3 2017 to 2018. Back then. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. In addition, Kotaku has also reported via their own resources that the coalition creators of the Gears of War franchise have been affected by these Microsoft layoffs, and Microsoft Nadia Nadella has addressed 10,000 layoffs. So right now, there's a lot of layoffs happening, and eventually in a couple years or so, we're going to see brand new unique experience games coming straight out from companies. Because right now, from what I understand, is that due to the fact that there are a lot of games nowadays, currently, that aren't doing very well. And of course, going forward, right now, there's not really a lot. They're all just cut and paste. And what do I mean by cut and paste? It's like literally just the same game with just different title, maybe different backgrounds of characters, and such. Like, let's say Tekken, for example. Tekken is like Street Fighter, okay? That's a cut and paste game. Well, almost like it, but it's different. I mean, Tekken's more 3D uh, fighting game, but you get the idea. And you know, Gears of War 4, I remember playing it, and I didn't really care much about the campaign. It was okay for what it is, but I just didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And that's the thing with me is that I was never really a Microsoft fan guy. I don't really care much for Microsoft games. I just want to play games. No matter what third party it comes from. As long as it's good, that's all that matters. Right? Because after all, gaming is fun. It's FUN. That's what gaming is. It's a great way to escape reality. Have fun. Make new friends. Whether that be, the people you meet at your work, or at the convention, or hell, even if you meet them online. They're great. That's what gaming is. It's all about bringing people together. All of us could understand that, right? And even if you're in a relationship, you and your wife or you and your girlfriend could play a game together. Which means you could play games like, I don't know, like Mario Party 3, Mario Party 8, Super Mario Party, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or Mario Kart 8. There are loads of games you could play with one another. But other than that, that pretty much puts it there. Let's see. News has resulted in several major games in the gaming industry, many of whom formerly worked with Microsoft to express their support and or frustrations. Patrick Wren, former senior and multiplayer designer on Halo and current senior encounter designer at Respawn, tweeted the following. The layoffs at 343 shouldn't have happened, and Halo Infinite should be in a better state. The reason for both of those things is incompetent leadership up top during Halo Infinite's development, causing massive stress on those working hard to make Halo the best it can be. Alright, so there's a lot to unpack here. Now, for those who don't know what's been going on with Ubisoft as well, I should probably bring up Ubisoft because I think this actually falls in line with what I'm talking about based on this article. And I will leave the article in the description, so you can check it out yourselves. Now, the thing really quickly with Ubisoft is they aren't doing so well, okay? Skull and Bones, that game was supposed to come out like long time ago. Is currently being delayed. Ubisoft has so many games right now. I mean, the last really, really good game I actually enjoyed was probably Watch Dogs. And also Watch Dogs 2. Actually, come to think of it, I actually like Watch Dogs 2. Though I haven't really actually replayed it, which I'm going to probably do on this channel. I'm going to probably do a Let's Play of it. And probably also maybe play some of it whenever I get a chance. But yes, Ubisoft hasn't been doing so well. And I know a lot of people love the Assassin's Creed series. That's really what Ubisoft is known for, is their Assassin's Creed series. They do a great job with that. But currently, Ubisoft isn't doing well. Yves Guillemot, the guy who's in charge of... He's the CEO for Ubisoft, and currently he's been spewing a whole bunch of bullshit, obviously, to his developers, and the management at Ubisoft isn't going so well. So, there is that. Alright? And when it comes to making games, and when you're working with developers and others, it's also important for management to take their own responsibilities. Okay? No matter how hard developer works or any of your employees work, you should be doing some of that stuff too. Okay? Everybody should be doing their job to be making a product for their consumers and their fan bases. Okay, let's look at Target for example. Okay, Target is one of those companies that, a lot of people, from what they've been hearing, is like Red Walmart. Okay, and there's a lot of issues that goes on in Target, and there's a guy I do follow. Oh my god, I'm trying to think of his name now. Oh yeah, I think his name's Camelot 885 or something. He covers a lot of different stuff related to different companies like Target, Walmart, GameStop, all sorts of things. And he actually was the one who coined the term for Target, Red Walmart, because that's kind of like what they are now. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the essential stuff that people need are pretty much locked up in cases. So, there you go. Well, might not be whether your area, whether, outside of California, I'm not sure, but definitely in California, they definitely have cased some of those stuff there. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. Rod Ferguson, who previously worked with Microsoft at the Coalition, was since become the general manager at Diablo of Activision Blizzard, has called for those out of a job to reach out for a potential role. Send them my way. And, well, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here. But it's more than just Microsoft taking a hit. According to reports from esports journalist Jacob Wolf, Riot Games is facing its own wave of layoffs. And, yeah, that's... So basically, pretty much from what I'm reading here is, yes, there's a lot of layoffs been going around, and right now, it's not really looking good for a lot of these journalists that work in all sorts of different ones. I mean, Vox is kind of pretty much going broke. I believe they own Polygon, and Polygon is also terrible. They are filled with such terrible, terrible people who work in journalism. If you go to Reset Era is another one which you should avoid at all times, because no matter what you say on Reset Era, people will just completely attack you and go after you. And that's why on YouTube and the ones who cover pop culture and gaming, they are known as the woke crowd. Because let's look at Frosk from G4TV.com, or actually no, G4TV. And she wasn't actually always a part of G4TV. She was only part of G4TV once, what's that company? I believe it was Xfinity that brought them on. Okay? Now, of course, because of what Frosk said on a YouTube stream once, lots of gamers and YouTubers basically left, unsubscribed to G4TV. Now, for those who don't know G4TV, back in the old days, so I think they were on Tech TV once. Then they had their own little channel. I think if you had Dish Network, you could actually see that channel. So they were known for shows like X-Play, Attack of the Show, Ninja Warrior, which actually, come to think of it, Ninja Warrior was probably one of the best shows you could actually watch. Okay? Now, I'm not really much into sports. I despise kind of sports. I'm not really athletic. And let's be honest, me and sports do not go well together, unfortunately. Now, there are some people that do, but yeah. But Ninja Warrior was always a good show because, it's basically people from around the world. They would come to this place called Mount Midoriyama and take on the challenge. And it's all about strength and endurance. and whoever got to the top of Mount Midoriyama gets a big boatload of prize money. That's really what it is. And you're also claimed as the Ninja Warrior. That's why. I believe what's it called? Oh yeah. And there's an anime called Nekopara that's actually based off of the light novels. They kind of did a little bit of spin-off of Ninja Warrior on there. But, Nekopara I would definitely recommend checking out if you haven't seen it. If you haven't played any light novel games, you can give them a go. I've only played the first one. But yeah, it's a light novel. What can I say about Nekopara? Really, it's all about this guy who works at a bakery shop, and he actually owns these female type of women that are half human but also cats. They're basically humanoid cat. That's why they're called like Neko women or Neko something. Okay, so and it's actually funny in the actual video game of the light novel. They kind of somehow are really, really flirtatious and attractive to the guy that actually owns them. It's actually funny. So just play through the first one if you haven't. But there is one girl that actually seriously owns them. I believe I think there's 5. Is there 5? I believe there are. Yes. So yeah, there's 5 of them in total, and yeah, there's let's see. Vanilla, chocolate, forget what the other 3 are. But yeah, definitely check out the anime. You can also check out the games as well. But yeah, I'm gonna pretty much stop reading this article. That pretty much covers it with the whole thing, with the whole layoffs thing. And honestly, journalism in gaming is gonna end soon. It will, because if you think about it this way, a lot of people go to YouTube to watch their favorite creators talk about gaming. And it doesn't just have to be talking about gaming. They could do Let's Plays and such. Like for me, I do Let's Plays on here. Because you guys know, I do, I talk about anime, I talk about gaming. I cover both worlds because I'm an otaku and also a gamer. So you'll get both from what I say to you. Now, that doesn't mean you can agree with me on everything, because you have your own taste. You are your own person, and I totally respect that. I respect all you guys who have your own taste in what you love. Okay, maybe the old me from Coruscant 23 days wasn't really. I think he probably looked down on his viewers, but for me, no. I'm not that type of person, okay? So, all I can say to you is, whenever it comes down to it, you have to be honest when it comes to reporting about what you're talking about. Meaning that if you are set on talking about gaming, it's always best to just focus on just talking about gaming and leave out your political views. And of course, going back to what I was talking about with Frost, I still look at that stream and think to myself, why didn't the Black Hokage and the Completionist not say anything? Because for the first 5 minutes, all Frost would talk about is her whole thing related to sexism in gaming. And I understand that, sexism in gaming is sort of a problem, but still, sexism in gaming is such a, it's a problem, and I don't know what to say here. But all I could say is that, the reason why XPlay became so good in the first place, back when, Sessler was still sane, and he had Morgan Webb, who actually, she was really, really attractive. She was a really attractive woman. And she and Sessler always regarded gaming. And I remember Adam Sessler, he had a he had another. He had what was it? A third like back type of cover type of news kind of thing. I don't remember if it was a news network or something, but it was called Sessler's Soapbox. And yeah, he'd be dressing up as like some sort of weird ass cowboy or something. And then, of course, on Attack of the Show, you had Kevin Pereira and Olivia Munn. And yeah, Olivia Munn she was also really sexy and beautiful. And then, of course, I remember after Olivia Munn left, they had Candace Bailey, and she was also really, really attractive as well. So I don't understand, why you need to, attack, attack your fans that actually grew up watching you guys. If you were, as, when G4 was an actual thing back in the day. Because a lot of us now have moved on. We now create our own little, we have gaming podcasts, we have Let's Plays, we have gameplays, we have everything. And you really, really don't really need to be reading up journalism stuff, because you can just go to a YouTube creator that can give you the information. And you know what? A YouTube creator is a lot more trustworthy than something like Polygon or Kotaku. So, there we go. Anyways, I know I've gone on for more than 13 minutes, but that's what I wanted to cover. So, if you liked everything that you saw here, definitely hit the like button, the bell icon, hit the subscribe button, and click all notifications enabled if you wish to see more of my content. I do Let's Plays. I'll upload me gameplay for Hogwarts Legacy once it comes out on February 10th. And more gaming, anime rants, and live streams will happen soon. Live stream will probably happen tonight as well. Alright, with that, this is Kuri the Vampire from Anime Core 85, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.